Welcome to this part of another soul-gripping testimony, 18 Years with Lucifer. This testimony may have visually disturbing scenes, therefore viewer discretion is advised. Please note that this is just one part in a series of videos of this particular testimony, so if you have the stomach for it, feel free to check out the entire playlist, 18 Years with Lucifer, here on this YouTube channel for full understanding of this supernatural journey. Truly, I was an enemy of the church. I had no plan of ever getting saved. Every day that went by, I grew from bad to worse. My lifestyle was about clubbing, alcohol, smoking, getting high, dancing, initiating young people into Satanism and sorcery. I reached a point and I decided never to step into a church unless I was on a mission. This was because one day Satan had sent me to fight against Pastor Robert Kayanja's ministry in a conference. It was while I had gone on that mission that the Holy Spirit took away all my powers, and getting those powers was a very painful process. So I decided to go back to Satan and get more powers and come against the church with more strength. It was during that time that my mother felt burdened to pray for me. That is when she realized that something was wrong and that I was not normal. Then she began a home family prayer altar. Every night we were supposed to pray as a family. It was during that time that I cast a spell of slumber on my family members, and they all slept while in the seated position, and they woke up in the morning in the living room. They were even late for work. After waking up in the morning, my dad was upset because he hadn't gotten a good night's sleep and still had to get up and go to work. I remember Daddy saying, "From today onwards, everybody prays by themselves at night wherever they are." This is how I turned off the family altar that Mommy was beginning. Witchcraft and manipulation go hand in hand. This went on for years. The family had no idea they were under my spell the whole time. I wonder, how many families in this world are under spells of witchcraft and have no idea? Truly, Jesus came to set the captives free. Part of the problem is that most captives have no idea that they are captives. While I was on a trip to get more powers, I heard a voice saying, "Enough is enough. You will never succeed in this again." Upon hearing this voice, I got scared, but I ignored it. When I went to Lucifer, I told him about the voice, and he said that it is from my enemy, and that I need to go into a fast and separate myself from the rest of the world for 15 days. So I went back home and locked myself in my bedroom for 15 days. I only got out when I was going somewhere. I wasn't speaking to anyone. It made my mom get more concerned, to the extent that she had to share with the pastor that something was wrong with me. At the end of the 15 days, my mom tricked me into going to church. She said that pastor had brought me a gift from overseas and that I needed to pick it up personally. When I got there, the pastor's wife ordered all of the ushers to make sure I don't escape because they needed to pray for me at the end of the service. Immediately, I began to consult my spirits, and Cleo told me not to panic. He told me that as soon as the pastor comes to talk to me, I should start crying. And when he asks me why I'm crying, I should say that I'm scared because Mommy is about to have a medical operation, and I don't want to lose her. I did as Cleo advised, and the pastor, instead of praying for me, he asked my mother why she didn't tell him that she was going for an operation. Needless to say, my mother was speechless. Then the pastor and his wife decided to take Mom into the prayer room to pray for her, and that is when I found an opportunity to escape. When they came out of the prayer room, I was gone. By the time Mom came home, she was furious. She asked me why I tricked her about being concerned about her operation. Then I asked her why she tricked me about the pastor having a gift from overseas for me. Then she kept quiet and walked away. And that was the end of that. My mom was operated upon, and she was supposed to die on the operating table, but because Pastor had prayed for her when I pretended to be concerned about her upcoming medical operation, she was saved. Truly, Romans 8:28 came to pass right in front of me. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. So Grandmother Adroniah came to give me a hand. She even poisoned my mother's food, and we watched while she ate it. She poisoned Mum's food about 6 times. There was a day when she put poison in her food once in the morning and once in the evening, and my mum just ate the food and even asked for extras. Grandmother used poison and witchcraft combined, and my mum just seemed to be getting healthier and healthier. When everything failed, Satan told me to go to a certain school and initiate 4 children of different pastors in town. Then he told me that the only way to kill my mom is by killing my brother. He said, "We'll kill your brother in an accident, and your mother will die of shock." It was while I was on my way to my uncle's house so that I become a member and befriend pastors' children and initiate them into Satanism. Mosey Radio, the driver, and another musician whose stage name was Kid Fox were driving to Kampala from Jinja. We began to debate on whether I should go to my uncle's house or not, because a few days back he had visited us at home in Jinja after my grandmother had gone back to the village, having failed to kill my mother on the operating table. It was during this visit that Uncle decided to pray for me. When he started praying for me, I turned into my grandmother and my visage changed to hers, and I began to speak in her same voice. Grandmother began to confess through me that she was responsible for my mother's sickness, and that she had wrapped a dead body into the bedsheet that she gave her, so that every time she went to bed, she slept with the dead. She also said that all of my clothes and shoes are covenanted, and they grow in size as I grow in size. It was after this that Uncle burned all of my clothes and bed sheets, and the following day my aunt came home and asked why I had burnt the clothes, yet nobody had told her. Then she picked me up and put me on her lap, and I got re-empowered with more demons. So this was the reason as to why Radio was not comfortable with me going to my uncle's house. If my uncle would have prayed for me, it would destroy our progress. It was while we were arguing that I again heard a voice telling me that if you go to Ntinda, you will not come back alive. Then again I heard a voice telling me, "I'm going to give you a second chance, and I want you to take my children out of Egypt and lead them to the promised land. It's either you do that or you will die." I looked around, but I could not see anyone talking to me. Now when we got to Beogarere, a suburb of Kampala, Radio and Weasel heard their music being played in a bar, so they decided to get into this nightclub and cheer up their fans as celebrities do and take selfies to entertain people. When they got out of the car, they were mobbed by fans. It was during that time that I heard a voice telling me that this is your last chance. You either escape now or never. So I got out of the car and jumped on a transport motorbike and got away. It was after I had gotten to a certain distance away that Radio saw I had escaped, but it was too late. He was surrounded by fans and I was already way down the street. The bike transport took me to my uncle's place. I have him every penny I had and ran into the house. When I got into the house, I found that my uncle and family were on 40 days of fasting. I convinced myself that I would stop them from fasting and break their altar, but I would rather hide there than be dead. My life was in serious danger and I had nowhere else to turn. At the very least, Uncle Patrick's house was better than dying. I started on my mission to pull them into the flesh through the propensity of anger. I started breaking every breakable kitchen utensil in the house over a 3-day period. I was watching horror movies and lots of secular music in the house because I wanted to create a heavy demonic atmosphere conducive to my operations. Every night before they went to sleep, they had a family altar or evening Bible study and prayer session before sleeping. Before going for the family altar, I would go to the toilet and call for more demons so that I could stand to be in the same room with them while they prayed. It was after one of the prayer sessions that my uncle requested to pray for me. He told me to open the Bible and read the Bible with him. This was something I was never supposed to do because it meant that the power of God could strike me and drain all of my powers in an instant. So when my uncle insisted that I read the Bible, I was struck indeed and I collapsed. When I came to, I was surrounded by my uncle's family. They told me that I was moving around the house like a snake while they were praying for me. Uncle said they had cast out that snake from me, so I knew my snake had gone. But I was tired of living for Satan. My uncle continued to pray for me every day. The following day, I vomited the egg that the Catholic priest had commanded me to swallow. The third day, I vomited human hair, and apparently it smelled like fish, yet I never used to eat fish. The fourth day, my hair flew straight up during prayer, and I began to twist my uncle's intestines using sorcery. Uncle started praying for me on a Sunday, and I was delivered on a Friday. One day, as Uncle was praying for me, my other uncle, Peter, was in the reading room. Then he got a phone call indicating that Uncle Patrick was calling him. So he decided to just come and see because Uncle Patrick was in the living room. When he asked Uncle if he was calling him, Uncle denied because he didn't even have airtime on that phone to call with. Then Uncle picked up his phone and saw that his phone was not calling his brother and he did not have airtime, so while his brother's phone was still ringing with Uncle Patrick's caller ID, he told him to pick up the call. When he received the call, he could hear demons manifesting through the phone. It went on like this for 2 hours until my uncle got tired and just switched off his phone. This reminds me of an incident in school when all the children had bathed and then us Satanists would go in last. This is because I only showered with boiling hot water. Every time I would go with boiling hot water into the bathroom, I would bend down and cover my head with the cover of the bucket and inhale the steam. This steam was my transport to the spirit world. In an ordinary circumstance, this kind of steam could have given my face third-degree burns, but for some reason, it never burned me. We used to go into the bathroom last together because we needed to protect one another, because when you go into the spirit realm, your body is not supposed to be moved until you come back. So I had a friend who I trusted, and I felt comfortable with her watching over me while I went into the spirit world. But one day, after we had finished bathing, she told me that I had grown spiritually and there were certain changes I would begin to experience. I did not understand what she meant, but while I was walking out of the bathroom, a student pointed at me and began shouting, "Come and see a big cat." I thought this student was joking, but when she persisted, I began to defend myself and tell her, "I'm not a cat." But every time I opened my mouth to speak, I began meowing like a cat. Now this friend of mine spoke to me and she told me that I would be seeing changes in my life, and this was one of them. "You've changed into a cat. Those students are looking at a cat." Then she said, "I've changed as well." The students started yelling, "Oh, look, now there's 2 cats." Now, when they began pointing at us and screaming that we are cats, I ran behind my friend because I was scared. Then she instructed me to use my 6th sense and jump over the wall before they start stoning us. So she jumped up on the wall. I tried to do what she had done, but I failed. But when I used my 6th sense, I jumped on the wall successfully. Then we ran into the forest. While we were there, she told me that these things happen to devil worshippers, but when I get used to them, they will be of help to me. She said that at a certain point, I would get used to it, and I would be able to perceive when it is about to happen, and move away from the normal people so that I don't change in front of them. Later, when I got used to it, I would leave the school grounds anytime I wanted to. One time, we had escaped to go to a club from school. Our school teacher saw us in the club. She decided to call the school security so they could catch us in the act and gave us expelled. But I ran back to school with my friends. But my friends couldn't get back into the school grounds. So I told them to wait for me while I go convince the gate man to allow us to enter. When I got close to the gate, I turned into a cat and entered the school premises and ran back into the dormitory, turned back into a person, and jumped into my bed. The other students were unable to get back into school, so they were caught. Now the school teacher was convinced that she had seen me in the club, so she came straight to my bed to confirm if I was there or not. But when she opened the blanket, I looked at her with a mocking gesture, and she was terrified. She told the matron that some of the students are not normal people, but I told the matron that the teacher just didn't like me. Which side would you take? Later, after my deliverance, this same teacher came to my uncle's house for a fellowship. While she was there, she saw me in the living room. She was very shocked. She asked my uncle if I was also born again. Then my uncle gave her my testimony. Then she said, "If what you're saying is true, then God is real." This girl tortured me when I was a teacher to the extent that I gave up teaching. Right now, I'm working in an NGO. I'll invite her to come and minister. It is only after I see her ministering that I will believe what you are telling me. She organized the meeting, I ministered, and many people got saved. And after she saw that, she confirmed that God is real and that He is indeed powerful. Now, on the last day of my deliverance, it was the very day that I was supposed to be married to Lucifer. On that very day, one of the top witches had announced that all the witch doctors meet in a certain hotel in Mukono, a suburb in Kampala. By the midnight hour, I was supposed to have presented the 2 sacrifices which I hadn't. And after I had run away from Radio and Weasel, I wasn't sure if it was a good idea to attend this final initiation. But I knew that they would come after me eventually. While I was in the bedroom ironing, I heard a voice of someone telling me, "You cannot run away from me and get away with it." I was terrified. I knew whose voice that was. It was Lucifer's. When I turned around to see who it was, indeed it was Lucifer, he had entered my room. The first thing that came into my mind at that time was to run to my uncle. But as I was trying to run and open the door, he pulled me backward, and I fell to the ground with a hot, flat iron almost burning my neck. I fought for my life, but Lucifer was strangling me. I tried to scream, but my voice was not coming out. I did not give up. I tried to scream until my voice finally came out. That is how my uncle heard me. He was going to take a shower and get ready for the overnight meeting where he was going to minister. When he heard someone scream in the girl's room, he ran to see what was happening. When he came, he found me on the ground unconscious with foam coming out of my mouth. Indeed, if Uncle had not come at the time he did, I would have been found dead in the bedroom. People would have assumed that the electricity from the iron shocked me to death. So he first removed the iron from my hand and carried me to the living room and started playing praise and worship music. That music was like first aid to me because I began to breathe. Then they began to pray for me. As they were praying for me, demons manifested. The spirits of friends who were devil worshippers in my school were speaking through me and screaming and being cast out one by one. Every spirit spoke with their voice through me and said what their mission was in my life. Everyone who had ever bewitched me confessed in their own natural voice what they had been sent to do and the purpose behind it. I had been bewitched by almost every witch doctor I came across. They bewitched me because of the favor I had with Satan. From 7 p.m. to midnight, the demons were not leaving, so Uncle decided to call the church where he was going to minister and ask them to join in prayer. So when the church members began to pray, the fire increased. All of the Ugandan celebrities began to manifest themselves through me. And yet, I was unconscious. Chameleon spoke and said that he had initiated me 7 years ago and that they were not going to let me go. Then, as Uncle Patrick continued casting him out, Chameleon began to talk to his brother Weasel, saying, "I told you not to capture this girl. Her parents are saved. They're going to pray for her and start destroying our things. Now see, our things are being destroyed and our secrets are being revealed." My uncle cast out Chameleon and he screamed and left my body, and then Weasel began to manifest. "Yeah, man, it's me, Weasel. This is our girl. I ain't leaving." Uncle prayed again until Weasel screamed and left. Then Raggedy, an older Ugandan artist, manifested. "Yo, man, what's up? This is Raggedy, the grandfather of all the musicians in Kampala. I'm not a coward like the chameleons, so I'm not leaving." Uncle prayed again, and Raggedy screamed and left. Then another one manifested. "Big is big, big size extra large. I'm not leaving, do what you want." Then Uncle continued to pray, and Extra Big screamed and left. Then Uncle heard a voice saying, "Yo, salute to the ghetto president, one love and the ghetto people, the president of the Republic of Uganda, I'm Bobby Wine. Respect me, I'm not leaving." Then Uncle prayed, and Bobby Wine screamed and left too. Then came another voice, singing and saying, "I am the king of the radios. You cannot cast us out of this gal. She was given to us by her grandmother." But Uncle insisted and prayed, and then Radio screamed and left after hurling bitter curses and abuses. Then he left. Then the next one was a popular DJ. He said, "I'm the number one spin doctor. De teacher of de teachers, I eat nails and drink acid. No man is impossible for me. I control people's joints all night long. Then he started making DJ scratching noises like a record being scratched by a DJ. Wiki, 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 wiki. There were too many artists and musicians that were cast out of my body to name them all. It took 1 hour for all the musicians to be cast out. It was nothing less than all-out war. After all the artists were cast out, the next thing they heard was a voice like the combined woofers of an entire stadium shaking the entire house. The whole house shook to the point that the neighbors came from every direction to get saved. I am Lucifer, the king of hell, the prince of darkness. I got this girl's soul 7 years ago. I took her because she has a talent which she was going to use against my kingdom. I trained her and now she's working for me. She has my secrets and am not willing to let her go. The whole neighborhood could hear this voice loud and clear. That's why they all got saved after this incident. My uncle said, "Lucifer, you are a defeated devil." Then Lucifer said, "I know I am defeated, but I am not yet defeated because I have thousands of souls down here with me, and I am going to use them against your master." People, if you're reading this book and you're not saved, just know that the devil wants to use you against God. And it is my prayer that today, after reading this book, you decide to serve the true and living God. Then Uncle began to fight with the devil in prayer, but as he was praying for me, my other uncle and my grandfather and the neighbors decided to get born again before Uncle Patrick even finished praying for my deliverance. So after they got saved, they began joining in the battle and praying against the devil because he was not leaving. At that point, my soul was still caged in a glass in hell. After Chameleon and his wife had been cast out of my body, they decided to go and stand guard by my cage to prevent me from escaping. But when the prayer intensified, God sent Angel Michael to come and rescue my soul. Daniel 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. I saw Angel Michael landing in hell and strangling Lucifer, and he was screaming at the top of his lungs in pain. Meanwhile, physically, God had instructed Uncle Patrick to make a circle around my body and to call fire while my aunt was to call my name at the top of her lungs. Erica, 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 Erica. As they did that, I saw fire go underneath the glass in the form of a mighty hand. It first drove away all of my enemies and lifted the glass, burst it, broke all of the chains, and pushed me out of hell. So I was flying in the air, not knowing where to go. But this hand kept on pushing me further and further from hell. I heard Lucifer screaming, "Oh no, she's gone, we've lost her." Then Michael the archangel came and held my hand and told me that his master had sent him to rescue me, and today I will get my deliverance. Then I asked him where he was taking me. He said the lady I could hear calling my name was my relative, and they had been praying for me, so he was taking me home. Then when we arrived on top of the house where the voice was coming from, he instructed me to enter my body while he was fighting with the demons that wanted to hinder me from getting delivered. When I entered my body, it was like I was waking up from a deep sleep. I didn't know where I was, and I couldn't recognize my relatives. I could only remember incidents from my childhood up to 11 years of age. Beyond that, all I could remember was hell. I could remember all of the missions we had in hell. As my family members were asking me questions about my experiences, I saw a 3-liter bottle of water on the table. I asked them if that was water. Before they could say yes, I had already grabbed the water, and within a few minutes, the bottle was empty. What would you do if you had spent 7 years without tasting a drop of water, and then you see a cold bottle of water right in front of you? Zechariah 9:11. As for thee also, by the blood of thy covenant, I have sent forth thy prisoners from the pit, wherein is no water. Psalms 42:3. He brought me up also out of an horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock and established my goings. And he hath put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our God. Many shall see it and fear and shall trust in the Lord. That was my miracle. Water. Just plain water. After I explained to them where I had been and what I had been through, Uncle decided to call my mother about my deliverance. They were so excited and arranged to come the following day. I was acting like an 11-year-old girl because that was when my soul had been taken. After some time, my uncle and family told me that they were going to sleep. I was shocked. I asked them, "You mean you people here sleep?" Because I had never slept for the whole entire time I served Satan. It's true what the Bible says, Psalms 127:2. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he giveth his beloved sleep. For 7 years, every time I was about to sleep, demons would strangle me. So I spent many nights in nightclubs trying to forget about the sorrows of this world. I refused to go to the bedroom because I knew that the moment I slept, demons would come for me. So my aunt volunteered to stay the night in the living room with me. So while my aunt was asleep, I was looking at her and admiring her and wondering how she could sleep without being tortured. Because my body was tired, I too fell asleep for the first time in 18 years. I slept peacefully for 2 hours without any demon strangling me. But while I was sleeping, my aunt had set an alarm to wake her up. When the alarm went off at 6:30 a.m., that was another situation for me because her alarm was a voice recording which said, 6:30 a.m., time to wake up. It was the exact same voice as Cleo, my demon spirit guide. I knew that voice better than any other voice in the world. Cleo had been my spirit guide for 7 years. I knew his voice perfectly. So when I heard the alarm go off and it was Cleo's voice, I was sure that it was him and that he had found me. I jumped from the chair over my aunt to the door, which was closed. I was trying to pass through the window, but it was too small. I was breaking everything that I came across and blaming them for convincing me to sleep, something that I was not supposed to do. I told them, "In the world where I'm coming from, we do not sleep, and I am a queen in that world." I told them about Cleo, but they explained to me that the alarm was just an electronic recording and nothing to fear. They worked hard to calm me down. Then Uncle tried to tell me about my life and how I've been living over the last 7 years, and how I'd even been a maid in his wedding, but I could not remember any of it. When he brought the wedding photos and showed me, I ran away from the pictures of myself because I expected to see myself the way I was when I was 11. This picture shocked me. 7 years had passed and I had grown up into a young woman. Then when they took me to a mirror, the drama began all over again. I was horrified. I could not believe it was me. I wanted to disappear. When my parents came, all they wanted to do was to embrace me, but I ran away from them because after 7 years, they had aged. I couldn't believe it was them. My brother was all grown up. I couldn't believe it was him either. He was also scared of me because we were never friends because I always wanted to kill him. We were now afraid of each other. It was drama. It wasn't until my uncle prayed for my soul to blend with my body that I began to recollect events from both my body and my soul. That is how I managed to remember the things I am now sharing with you. It took me 8 years to remember all these things I am telling you. The enemy tried to destroy my memory, but God has restored it. As soon as I got delivered, I asked my uncle, "Angel Michael told me his master had sent him to come and rescue me. Who is his master?" Then Uncle Patrick told me that his master was Jesus. Then I asked Uncle how I could please this Jesus. Then Uncle said, "By serving him." And from that day till now, I've been serving Jesus, because I made him my personal friend. Jesus took me to heaven about 8 times, and those experiences I will share in the next book. If you want Jesus to be your friend too, you can pray this simple prayer. Father in heaven, I believe in Jesus Christ, that he is your Son, and that you raised him from the dead. Forgive me of my sin and make me a new creature. In Jesus' name, amen. If you have come this far, chances are high that you are loving this video. Please do me a favor and hit both that subscribe and like button to help this message to spread far and wide. Also, don't hesitate to check out the rest of the playlist, 18 Years with Lucifer, right here on this YouTube channel. Thank you for supporting the Wake Up channel. God bless you.